Hello, I'm Bert Oliver, and welcome to Bowie News and Views. And with my friend, cohort, past editor of the Bowie Blade News, John Rouse, he's going to introduce our guest today. And this is a special, well-traveled guest.
Thank you, Bert. It's always a pleasure to be here, especially today with my former nemesis, Joan Christian, who shares the unique distinction of being one of the last Blade News columnists still standing.
True.
An outstanding educator, probably Bowie's most distinguished ex-educator, now retired to her palatial manse on the other side of town. And the chairwoman of the Martin Luther King celebration, which we have every year in Bowie in January. And boy, that's drawing close, Joan.
It's much too close, but yeah.
It's getting there. It's been a while since you've been on to chew the fat here at the Bowie News and View show.
Yeah, I was beginning to miss it.
What have you been doing?
Oh my gosh, what a question. Aside from getting ready with Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
I have a school center, music center, and I'm teaching children there.
Yes. Well, you're an accomplished pianist.
Geez, I'm going to pay you for some of these.
Well, I thought you were.
I figured you would. Just busy enjoying life, doing some traveling, and getting ready for all the things that are coming ahead of us in the spring. We're planning a film festival with Martin Luther King.
Oh, great.
That's another thing we're doing.
This will be at the Brava Center.
At the Brava Center, and that's going to be sometime in the spring. But right now, coming up is going to be a big one. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag at this point, but
This is the January 14th.
the January, yes, 14th, the Sunday before his birth.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to have a really wonderful time, and looking forward to everybody coming again.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was great last year.
Yeah, last year was a success.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was wonderful.
Well, it's nice to have that large
We had
facility.
Marion Wright Edelman.
Pardon me?
Marion Wright Edelman.
Yes, I have a book.
Okay.
I have a book.
Yeah, we gave the book to everyone who came.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
it's
was
really
very,
great.
very, very
Yeah.
nice. Listen, I want to ask you now. I'm going to explain to our viewers who will be watching the show on the television channel after the city election. But we're going to discuss the city election because we will be on YouTube tonight.
Oh boy.
We will be on YouTube tonight, which is, what is today? Tuesday, the 27th.
7th. That's right.
So tonight, we're filming this today on the 27th. It won't be broadcast until next Friday, but it will be available tonight on that address, that internet address you see underneath my beard. So tune in. And Joan, I'd like to get your view as a South Bowie person, as a longtime observer of the political scene here in Bowie. I'm going to ask you one question, then I'll let you embellish. Have you found this election, this campaign, boring?
Is there a campaign?
Exactly.
Good response.
I've been discouraged because I'd like to see people get out and talking and
Yes.
meeting people. I'm trying to think if there's one person who came to my house, one candidate. That's all I've seen, and yet the others.
One candidate.
The others have talked about how they've knocked on doors and doors. For some reason, they've not knocked on.
Who was the candidate?
I'm not going to go into that. Well, it was Dennis Brady, who's always on call and always there to develop things for us.
At large.
Oh yeah, at
candidate.
large. He's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, he gets to see everyone, and people get to know him. I think what has been disturbing to me, is that those little door knockers had been left.
Yeah.
And I read them. I truly read them. And I'm amazed because people claim that they have done all of these things in the last 2 years. And they may have done it as part of a larger group.
Yeah.
But they didn't spearhead it. They didn't lead the charge.
Oh, I know.
All that stuff. That's what bothers me, because what bothers me more than anything else is that people candidates as well, will say things, embellish,
Yeah.
if you will, their records.
Yeah.
They're not such good history buffs. What bothers me more is that the average Joe, and I'm an average Joe,
Sure you are.
really doesn't question anything.
Yeah, well, that's true.
They don't question it. They take the knocker and they said, oh, well, they see a face, they see a smiling face. Oh, he did that, fine. He didn't.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that kind of bothers me.
Well, there's one
in terms of
candidate
this.
who claims he's going to represent Generation X, which I found rather amusing. But, traditionally, as you've seen for years, we'll get these city council, the less informed city council candidates get up there and go on and on and on about education, what they're going to do about it. They can't do
They
a
can't
thing
do
about
anything.
education.
It's county.
It's county, it's a school board.
That's right.
But do you think, another question, do you think the media coverage of this election has been worth anything?
I'll pose the same question. What media coverage? It's been sadly lacking
It has
Absolutely.
been.
throughout. Really,
It really has been.
It really has been.
Last week, the
yeah.
Blade News did a couple of pages of questions, I noticed, which was the first thing I've really seen in it since day one. I'm assuming that the Bowie Star will have something similar
I'm sure.
this
Something,
week.
yeah.
Next Tuesday is Election Day.
Yeah.
No, I think the media coverage has been terrible.
Well, where they failed us, might interject on, is that a lot of people are asking me, not only who's running, where are they running,
Yeah.
what district.
Yeah.
And
There's
who's
not.
competing against whom?
Yeah,
Where
there's,
do I go to vote?
Yeah.
yeah, that's the, well, they finally got their
They got
notice
the notice.
this week.
Yeah, the
this
notice
week.
came
Yeah, that
2
came, I
days,
think,
couple
within
days
2
ago.
days.
Yesterday, I think.
Because
Yeah.
that question there I was looking
Yeah.
for, because it was a community center this time. It was a church last time in the neighborhood.
That's right.
So there are some changes that people should note
Yeah.
and refer to their card, where if they may not be going to vote the same spot as last time. But that's the thing that really, to me, I think the press has failed us more than any other reason. And that's identifying the positions. Who's finally you had to search all over the news in the paper last week as to who is running against who.
Yeah.
And the candidates, top, incumbents, bottom, sort of lowercase, to me, I thought was not realistic.
I thought it was hilarious that Mayor Fred Robinson's challenger, A, never showed up at the one candidates forum that was held, and B, never responded to any of the questions for the paper.
Yeah, and a candidate
Maybe
like
he didn't
that.
have the answers. I mean, that's a
probably
possibility.
true.
I don't know the gentleman, but
Neither do any of us.
Well, the difference, there was an opportunity there, Joan, for that person
Sure.
as a
Yeah.
challenger
Oh,
to speak out.
absolutely.
What are
And
your
I don't
neighbors
know.
saying
Absolutely.
about it? Well, what are your neighbors saying? Are they even aware that there's an election?
They see the sign on my lawn, and the one next door to me has another sign. What's interesting is I don't know if anyone has asked, who is that person? Because it's a new person that's come to town, I think, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And that person's running for at-large.
Oh, Kennedy.
Yeah, and now I do know that when I came to town about 13 years ago, the first thing I did was to get involved with my community.
Yeah.
And worked hard with that community for more than 5 years.
Right.
And still do.
Yeah.
And still do. But that fact that someone can feel they can slide in, and I'm saying sliding in very,
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
and say, I'm here, and based upon perhaps who I am, what I look like, whatever, I am entitled to run for the office.
Oh, yeah.
But you're
Delusions.
not. You
No,
don't know a
absolutely.
daggone thing about this town.
Absolutely
You
not.
haven't met the people.
Yeah.
I sure as heck don't know. You haven't knocked on my door.
Yeah.
But there's an unearned privilege that's assumed.
Well, we saw that in the last election as well. These people came out of Todd
Yeah.
Turner's district. Who are they?
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
And how long Todd has been working so hard. This is a hardworking guy, really.
Well, that's a big point to me. That really is, because a lot of candidates make a decision, and when they file late, there's always some criticism about, well, why did they wait, and so on. But you're right about candidates. The candidates in the past I've seen for city council, I've seen them at the council meetings
There you go.
over and over and over when they were interested and sincere. And they weren't just anxious to get over to the newspaper and get an endorsement there. They kind of did their homework about the community. And I know another opponent there did make some comments about his background for a district seat. And it was obvious that he had not really looked at doing this until recently.
Yeah.
And he's probably a very good candidate against a very good incumbent, But the incumbent was right on the money as far as knowing what the history of the city is, what's been done. And I noticed there's one thing about the incumbents. They weren't waving the flag and said, we did it, we did it. They were low-key. And I want to make, I'm not against anyone making up their mind to run, but then what are they doing since then, other than appearing on a forum?
Or before then.
Or other than putting a sign
Well, we have
up?
those candidates that show up for every election. I was surprised